Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Mark.
And this is the Dark Ballcast. Who is it?
It's the Badge Man.
Got a present for you, Mark.
Ooh.
Here you go. And reach and grab it. What's that?
What
Tell
I've
'em.
got is a jar. Hear it? Of John Bull Confectioners. Barley sugar flavour boiled sweets.
You know what that is, mate?
What is that?
It's less about what it is, it's what it represents. It represents the weirdest encounter I've ever had in my whole life.
Does it? Can I have one? Can I try one?
You want me to open them?
Was I not?
I mean, you can.
I've
Do you
not.
want one?
It's not. I've not broke the seal.
Well, let me tell you where they came from.
Yeah, I might
So-
want to hear that before I crack them open.
Yeah,
don't I?
so
Crack open a cold
I was
boiled sweet with the boys.
hanging out with the missus, right?
Oh, that's nice.
And we get a knock on the door. And I look out, because I was expecting a parcel. I look out through the peephole. I see a guy there. And I think, oh, it's the courier. So I open the door, and there's a man stood there holding a small parcel and a jar of those barley sugars, right? And he edges towards the door and quite awkwardly goes, I wondered if you could do a favour for me. And immediately, obviously, I know it's not the courier anymore because I've had many parcels and not once have they asked me a favour. Right. So he leans in and with this little partially open parcel, he says, I'm having trouble putting these badges on my jacket. Right. And he says, I wonder if you could help me. And I was like, okay. So I'm expecting him to just kind of go, here you go. Could you maybe sew them on? And that sounds weird, but it's more acceptable than what happened.
Yeah, it's a neighbourly thing to do.
Yeah. So he said, I know it's a strange request, so I've bought you some payment. And he holds up that jar of sweets. So I go, I'm shook. This has never happened to me before in my life. I've never met the guy. Mark, this is the first neighbour I've met since we moved in. The first neighbour we've met, never seen him around. And so I go, okay, yeah, okay, I can help. So before I say anything else, he steps in.
Oh, he just walks in?
Steps in through the front door.
Amazing.
He's already there. And I go, I'm Dan, and this is my girlfriend. And I shake his hand and he goes, hi, I'm Steve. And now I don't take that in because I'm shook. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
So surprised that...
So he steps through, like instinctively walks into the room that we're in now. And he goes, the problem I'm having is I can't figure out where to put these badges. Because, I'm looking in the mirror trying to put them on and I just can't. So I go, have you thought about taking the jacket off and then putting the badges on it? So there's a grown... He's not a young man. He's older than me by the sounds of it.
He barely sounds human.
So he takes this... You know the kind of jacket I mean? Like a battle jacket. You take to gigs, it's got patches on it.
Patches and shit, yeah.
Got a big Iron Maiden patch on the back. So I'm like, okay, I got something in common with this guy. He's like a metalhead. So he just lays his jacket out on the table. This, about 30 seconds into this friendship. And he puts this parcel down. He just rips it open and there's badges all over the table. And I'm like, hold on a fucking second. So
what's happening?
So... I was like, I was down to help because to be honest, when he held up the jar, I didn't know what was in it. I thought it was marmalade, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, marmalade!" Like, there's not much.
You, Paddington Bear.
There's not much I wouldn't do for a jar of marmalade. Sweet, tangy marmalade.
Clearly not, mate.
Well, look,
yes, this marmalade.
well, he wasn't jostling it, Mark. That's the important
Yeah, but look,
thing.
I'm not jostling it now. I'm just moving it. Would you like this jar of sweets? Not this jar of marmalade.
Well, so we get
that is thick cut fucking marmalade.
We get into it. he lays out these badges. I try and start some small talk. I'm like, oh,
you're not good at small talk, mate.
No. Oh, it was awful. Not in this situation either. This is where I don't excel. So
What, when you've got strangers in your house?
we get to it. We start putting the badges on. And I'm like, oh, what do you get up to? And it was like, oh, I'm actually off to there's like a Comic-Con I'm going to, and I'm taking my niece. He was like, there'll be a couple of the cast from Harry Potter there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds nice. But we get into it, and we've probably put about 5 badges on, and there's a fair few left to go. And at this point, I'm thinking of knocking on the neighbour's door and offering him half of this jar to help me figure out how to put the rest on. So I realised we could be here all day, so I say to him just gently, I'm like, I ain't got long. And he goes, oh, no, me neither. And I'm like, oh, really? Badgeman has something planned after this.
Badgeman.
So
I'm a badgeman.
We finish off putting the badges on. Essentially, he did it himself. So I'm quids in. I've made a profit. Like, he did all the badges. I got all the sweets.
Are you moving on from the coat hanger scam to
barley sugars?
Barley sugar boiled sweets.
So we get on with it, and I go to see him out, and as he goes, I go, oh, bye. And he goes, bye. Enjoy your barley sugars. I'm like, I've never heard of these until today.
You never?
And the real kicker, Mark, is once he'd gone, Millie comes through and goes, the Harry Potter cast have cancelled that Comic-Con. Mark. And I just, honestly, I don't know how to cope, because what if this happens regularly?
You've opened the door now, mate. Anything he needs, he's coming to you.
Fuck off.
I remember we had, first of all...
Yeah, what's your
First of all, I don't want these.
No, you're not having one. Try one.
I've
not now. We'll do it in the break.
Before.
We'll do it in the break.
Right, so we had a neighbour... Growing up, we had a guy lived next door to us. As far as I remember, he was called Barry. Right. We called him Crazy Barry. And thing is, wherever we would move, Crazy Barry would follow us and move next door.
Fuck off.
Yeah. And I don't remember a lot of the stuff about why he was crazy. Apart why he was crazy, but one thing that made him seem quite crazy to me was when we lived down one house. It's a semi-detached house, and we had a nice long driveway that had a big fence around it. And he lived. And then there was an alleyway, and then there was the building he lived in, and he lived on the floor, like the first floor, because it was actually like a motor garage.
Right. Okay.
And he came round one day, like on a Sunday, around 5 or 6 o'clock, and asked my stepdad to help him hang a mirror.
Oh, okay.
And my stepdad was like, yeah, well, I don't mind, but it's going to have to be later because, we're having a tea.
Right.
That's all right. We're in the middle of Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
Crazy Barry went on his crazy way. And anyway, my stepdad forgot.
Right.
So we didn't go round. I went to our garage at the end of our driveway the next day to get my bike out for school. And then there was a mirror in our driveway, smashed into 1,000 pieces. Not each piece, but nearly all the pieces that were big enough had the word hell written on in red writing.
Crazy Barry.
Crazy Barry. And then all I remember after that is that he got himself an allotment, and then once a week he would leave us vegetables he'd grown on our doorstep.
I mean, okay.
So he gone from hell
mirror
to fresh veggies.
Yeah, to cursed vegetables.
We never ate them.
You hate vegetables as well. Maybe that's why.
No one in the house ever ate any of those vegetables.
Oh no, because you wouldn't. You'd just write hell on them and send them back.
So I'd rather have Barley Sugar Badgeman than Crazy Hell Mirror Barry.
Yeah, but you see, Mark, I've not wronged this man yet. I don't know what he's capable of.
We never wronged Crazy Barry.
Well, you made a promise and you didn't follow through.
He could have reminded us. He didn't have to immediately smash a mirror in my driveway. I was young and impressionable.
So, Mark, what you been up to?
Well, last time, obviously, we you said that you wanted to talk about more current affairs, didn't you?
Yeah, more content, less Christian bashing.
You didn't say that exactly, but you said current affairs.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot going on in the news,
Right?
and I've been trying to figure out what we could talk about. So obviously, Prime Minister Johnson has stepped down. Did you know one of his middle names is DeFeffel?
Well, did you have a stroke just there?
No. Honest to God, one of his middle names is DeFeffel.
What, is he Welsh?
I don't know what he is. He's barely human, to be fair.
Is he albino?
No, I think that's just the way he sits. So let me double check. Boris Johnson. Full name.
DeFeffel.
Full name.
Falafel.
Alexander Boris DeFeffel Johnson.
Alexander
Boris DeFeffel.
Falafel. Moroccan.
Couscous. Stewed apricots. So
sandalwood.
So Bojo has retired. Well, he stepped down, hasn't he? And I don't know a lot about politics, but it's a big thing, obviously. And then there's two people who are now fighting it out to be the PM.
Are they?
One of my favourite things was in Boris Johnson's last Prime Minister's Question Times, where he's essentially addressing the nation. He ended his speech with "Hasta la vista, baby."
Did he?
He did.
Fuck off.
Fucking
I was
DeFeffel.
hoping he'd say peace out.
DeFeffel and drop a microphone.
What would have been a better exit? What do you think would have been better?
Shooting himself in the head.
Shooting himself? I thought you said shitting himself then.
Either.
Can you imagine if he just went, Moscow, I've shot myself. And black screen.
Or just goes into his trousers, pulls out a handful of feces and slaps it into his face. I'd pay for that. I'd vote for him if he did that.
Yeah,
at least once a year. If he did that, I'd vote for him.
It'd be worth it just to see. I think they've got politics all wrong, don't they? Like, they just don't make them funny enough. Like, you said that they're fighting it out. They're fighting it out, but they're not actually fighting.
They should have them inflatable sumo suits, shouldn't they?
Not even that, just bare knuckle fights.
No, they should joust.
Joust.
They should be jousting.
Oh, my God.
With official, old medieval jousting baguettes.
Yep. But they're not allowed any training.
And instead of a horse, they have to do it on top of a mini metro going at 60 miles an hour. So I thought we could talk, I was thinking, should we talk about the two people who are battling it out to be the new PM? I thought, I don't really know a lot about it. No. It's politics. I'm not.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
And obviously, London's on fire, isn't it?
What?
So the heat, we've had a heat wave in Britain, been quite hot.
Right.
You look like you caught the sun there, mate.
It was fucking.
And there's been wildfires in London, haven't there, because of the heat?
Has there?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. It was hot, but not that hot.
It was. Airplanes weren't allowed to land at Luton Airport because the runway started to melt.
What is wrong with us?
Why would we build runways that can't stand that kind of heat?
Mate, what have they made it out of? Flapjack?
I believe so.
Like, if it's melting...
No, it's them Pontefract cakes, isn't it? The little licorice sweets.
Isn't it fucking dumb? It's 2022 and fucking tarmac is melting.
Yeah.
If there is no better metaphor for the current state of affairs.
Yes. So, obviously these are all very important things, but I feel like they've been covered enough elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I thought there is one thing that I've seen in the news slightly, but not properly, not enough. Okay. July 18th to July 24th. It's a very serious thing. It's Coral Reef Awareness Week.
What's the Coral Reef up to?
Just hanging about, not living its best life.
I'm already worrying about the
you should do.
This state of affairs between Russia and Ukraine, and now I've got to worry about coral.
No, I would forget all about Russia and Ukraine. It's all about coral. So basically, there's this place is trying to raise awareness of the coral reef. So now that I am aware of it, segment over. I'll know it's there, and I'm happier for that.
Now, I feel like everyone on some level knows about it, though.
So basically,
I wasn't surprised when you said Coral Reef, Mark. I know it exists.
It's awareness, isn't it? But to raise awareness for the coral reef and how to maintain them. You know, every time you see one, just give it a rub.
Have we got one nearby?
Nearby what? You mean like down the road?
Do I need to maintain it?
No, I don't think there's one in the Humber River. It's more of the tropical places.
So yeah, we don't really need to know, do we?
Yeah. So coral reefs are marine ecosystems. A bit of awareness for you, bit of background. Built by tiny individual coral polyps, held together by calcium carbonate.
I've never been less interested in this podcast.
You wanted current affairs.
I wanted current affairs, not coral affairs.
Right, so
or not affairs around the current.
What gets me is this bit, because obviously this is apparently important enough to have a week of awareness for.
Oh, okay.
And then it gives you this. As diverse and complex ecosystems, coral reefs occupy less than 0.1% of the world's ocean area.
Why should we care then?
Because at least 25% of all marine species call coral reefs home. If it weren't like, that's where Nemo and his dad lived. In an anemone.
Anomalies.
On the coral reef. There's even a Coral Reef Awareness Week timeline. So, did you know 485 million years ago, coral reefs first appear, displacing the microbial and sponge reefs of the Cambrian?
I didn't know that.
I don't know what any of that means.
No.
But when it says the coral reefs appear, it's just like a coral.
Yeah, we weren't here before, now we're here.
Oi, we're coral. We're here. We're queer. Get used to it. 1950. So we jump from 485 million years ago to 1950. I'm not
Wait,
sure.
what happened in between?
That was its surrealist period. It's not as popular with the...
It just stayed mostly the same.
That's when they start to decline by 50%, partly because of their sensitivity to water conditions. Now, I'm not being funny, but that's, if the coral decides to be sensitive to water conditions, that's its fault. Because corals are actually technically animals, aren't they?
Look, in 435 million years, people are going to be writing about the start of our podcast. Because in very much the same way, absolutely no one asked for coral and no one needed coral.
But here it is.
But this was it. It was the coral reef.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off.
1998, coral bleaching.
When it really started to care about its arsehole.
Yeah. So there's widespread coral bleaching due to the El Nino event.
That sounds cool. Why aren't we writing about that?
I don't know.
Talking about that. Why are we're not writing anything?
And then 2009 to 2018, around 40% of coral reefs decline globally due to their many threats. That sounds like they're threatening us. Yeah.
They declined because we scared them back.
There is absolutely no evidence to say that coral reefs didn't have anything to do with 9/11. Apparently, one of the Supreme Justices who voted to overturn the Roe v. Wade case and allow the outlawing of abortion is actually just some coral in a gown.
And no one noticed.
No.
Until now.
So what will happen to coral reefs in 2050? I know that's the question on your mind, isn't it?
A big expose on Netflix, I imagine.
So now it's said that estimates predict nearly all of the reefs will be threatened, with 75% facing high, very high, or critical threat levels by 2050. I'm going to kick it off.
Yeah.
Oi, reefs. Shut it, or I'll punch you. Right in your reef bollocks.
Stop reefing.
I'm sick of it.
Oh.
So
I hate coral, if I'm honest.
Did you hate it before this?
I had no opinion on it, but right now it's just taking up a little bit too much of my time.
It is because of me. Yeah. So it's me you should hate.
No, Mark.
No, it's Coral Reef Awareness Week you should hate.
I'm aware now.
Well, Do you know what the biggest thing destroying coral reefs is?
Man.
No, it's cystitis.
What?
Urinary tract infection. No, it's not really. Increased ocean temperatures and changing ocean chemistry are the greatest global threats to coral reef ecosystems caused by warmer atmospheric temperatures and increasing levels of CO2 in seawater.
Do you know what I think's happened?
It's a fancy way of saying global warming, isn't it?
Do you know what I think's happened? Essentially, the coral's getting pissed off because for the longest time it's been raw and pink. And as the water has risen, we've been slowly boiling it, and pretty soon it's going to be edible, Mark. We need to be aware that this is going to become a very viable food source.
I'd try a bit of coral.
Yeah, but not yet.
I'm not normally into seafood, but I'd give coral a go.
I don't think it's bleached enough. Like, give it a couple more years. I don't like it. I don't like a medium rare coral. I like it well done.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm a rare man myself. Do you know what I hate more than coral?
Go on.
Kate Bush.
Oh, okay. For a second, I was like, who's Kate Bush?
I'm enjoying this.
But she really likes running up hills.
She does. I'm enjoying the new series of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Except for the
fact
fact
that... You've not finished it?
No. Except for the fact that... Yeah, but mate, you forget I have two very young kids. So by the time they're in bed, I can't... It's a lot to do to sit and watch 2 hours of Stranger Things.
Yeah. It is good, though.
This episode... This series is better than the rest because like the series 2, 3 and like, you know, all of them apart from one, basically, were a bit boring, I found. But this one is completely ruined by its inclusion of Kate Bush. Because I didn't like her anyway. I think she's got a weird voice. I don't like the way she says God in that song. She says God. If only I could. And I could deal with God.
You know what I mean?
Get into swap our places. It's terrible. Why does she sing like that? What's wrong with her?
No.
And now, because of Stranger Things, it's every second song on the fucking radio.
Yeah, but we know what it's like to be in a studio recording music. God. And what I think happened is she just got a little bit peckish. And she couldn't wait until after a take, so she just had a little nibble of a sandwich. A coral sandwich.
Coral sandwich. So, right, I want you to go make yourself a sandwich.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Yeah.
And prove to me that it's impossible to eat a sandwich while going, God.
I don't think it is.
I make a deal with God. God. It's sickening. Why do I have to hear it all the time?
I don't think it's that bad of a song. I think it's exposure, though.
I think you need to take yourself off and have a good little think, because I think it's a fucking horrible song. And I just can't stand. Why does she say it like that?
We're nothing if not polarising at this podcast, are we?
Polarising?
Yeah.
Why? What's that got to do with
the strongest opinion. You know, we're like, hey, this is shit. Do you know what I think?
It's not my fault that Kate Bush deserves to be executed.
Come on.
That way, she could go and meet God.
God. You know, if I met God,
who?
God. I'd ask him why the birds haven't reclaimed the sky.
Why? Who? What do you mean?
Right. So, this is why I believe that as humans we're so alone on this planet. Because
are you telling me there's not enough life on the planet?
No. I don't mean in that sense. I mean, we're so apart from the other species, Mark. Think about this. We have planes and gliders and things that put us in the sky. And if we were in the birds' position, we would do everything in our power to get rid of those pesky people in the sky.
Saying that
why haven't the birds reclaimed the sky, Mark?
Why haven't they taken all the stuff we've put in the sky out of the sky?
Like, how common do you think it is that, like, when someone's parachuting down, why don't the birds just take that opportunity to just get them? Yeah. Look, they're already falling.
Is it?
You might as well get them. They're vulnerable.
Yeah, but do you think it's...
We're only good on land, Mark.
Do you think it's that much of a problem for the birds? There's plenty of sky, mate.
I'd be pissed off.
There's more sky than there is land.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
There's room enough for all of us.
I don't think so. Look, the birds get one thing. No, two things. They get the bread we drop and the sky. And we're encroaching on one of those.
Yeah, but they don't sleep in the sky, mate. They have to land. We share our land with them.
Oh, so maybe what they're doing is...
They nest in our trees.
But I just thought today...
They let us eat of their eggs.
Think about parachutes.
No.
All right, see you in the
I
podcast.
simply refuse.
that's that. It's done.
I've always maintained that parachutes are a figment of the global conscious imagination.
I was talking to a colleague earlier, and this is what brought it all around.
You absolute cunt.
Colleague.
Someone I work with, thank you.
I was just talking to my cat, actually, because I work from home. So I was
spoken like a proper coral denier.
So when people go like parachuting, why did we choose the smallest bits of string to attach the one thing keeping you alive in the sky, keeping you falling slowly? The string is so thin. What the hell?
I'd like to know why people thought it'd be a good idea to just yeet out of airplanes in the first place.
How did they figure it out? Do you think someone got pushed out of a plane and they were just carrying a really comically large bag?
Probably started.
And it caught the draft and they glided gently to the ground.
What gets me is, where did bungee jumping come from? Oh. Why did someone stand on a bridge and go, you got a spare hair?
Do you know what I think it was? Someone made a noose out of elastic bands. And when they jumped off the ledge,
top and thought, oh, that was fun.
It was like, whoa. No, they didn't think it was, because obviously they snapped the net, but someone watching thought, that looks like a jolly good time.
Jolly good. Right.
Sorry, we got a bit off track then.
Speaking of being in the sky.
Segue.
I know. Speaking of being in the sky.
Right.
Have you heard of D.B.Cooper?
I have. From Prison Break.
Have
you watched Prison Break?
Never, no.
Well,
now I'm a heterosexual.
Cutting that. Go on.
No, I've never watched Prison Break.
Tell me about D.B.Cooper.
I know about D.B.Cooper.
I know a little bit about
It's just
him.
one of them weird little facts I know. But I know there's a documentary about him on Netflix that's just come out at the minute.
I saw that. It's on my list.
So you don't have to watch it.
There we go.
Because I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you who he is.
Yep.
Why he's famous. And I'm going to tell you the real culprit. Because I figured it out.
I thought quite famously he'd not been caught.
Until now.
And you're bringing this information to me?
Yes.
First.
On the podcast.
Could have took it anywhere.
On the podcast.
And here you are.
It's coming out.
Well, it's a public forum to the 6 people who
coming
listen
out
religiously.
Of its cage. It's been doing just fine.
It's running up that road.
Making a deal with God. Right. God. So, 1971.
Right.
A man walks into an airport and buys a ticket to Seattle. Writes his name down on the ticket thing as Dan Cooper. Gets on the plane with his briefcase. Sits down with his sunglasses on. Air hostess comes over to him and he says, hands her a note. And she says, all right, thanks. And she's about to walk away. He went, no, you need to read the note now. And the note says to sit next to him because I've got a bomb. So he sits down and he opens his briefcase and there's dynamite in it.
Whoa. That's a bold move.
It is, isn't it?
Pre 9/11, obviously.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like back then, you could just walk into an airport, say, "Can I have a ticket to so and so?" And they go, "Yep, here you are," and that's it.
It was bizarre if he was not taking your dynamite on a plane.
Yeah, like it's the only way to get your dynamite around. So he said, "We're going to land this plane, and I want when we land, I want 4 parachutes and $200,000." So it
seems reasonable.
It's normally a 40-minute flight. They were in the air for 2.5 hours because they told the other passengers there was an issue with landing. So they didn't think anything of it. When they finally landed, all the passengers got off, and that's when they were told that they'd been hijacked. No one was aware on the plane that they'd been hijacked apart from the crew. He asked for 4 parachutes rather than just 1 because he thought. Well, they speculate that he thought if they give me 1 parachute, they think if I'm going to jump out the plane, they've probably tampered with it and I'll die.
And plus,
so
it means that if he gets attacked by birds 3 times,
there you go.
So he's still got 1 more life.
So he asked for 4 because they at the time think that he's still taking the hostages, but then he lets them all go. Gets his 4 parachute, gets his $200,000. Then he says to the pilot, "Take off. Fly as low as possible at 250 miles an hour and keep the flaps of the wings down."
Shit.
The pilot goes, "Not possible. You can't fly a plane like that." And he goes, "You can, so do it." So they start flying from Seattle towards Reno in Nevada. The waitress sits next to him the whole time. Well, nearly the whole time, sorry. And he has a couple of drinks and whatnot. And he goes, right, I need you to go to the cockpit now and don't come back out. So she goes into the cockpit. All of a sudden, everyone in the cockpit's ears pop because there's a change in atmospheric pressure on the plane.
Yeah.
Because he's opened the back stairs. Bearing in mind at this point, it's pitch black. They're in the middle of a thunder lightning storm.
Shit.
And he's just yeeted out the plane.
No.
Never found. Ever to be found again.
What does the B stand for?
This is the thing. When it was being reported, and a reporter overheard someone mention D.B.Cooper instead of Dan Cooper, and it's all spiraled from there. It was Dan Cooper.
I had a little theory of my own just then.
Did you?
Dark ball Cooper. Oh, you didn't expect that, did you?
So, and that was it. It's never been found since 1971.
You know
some of the money's been found. $6,000 worth of the money, because in today's value, that money would have been $1 million.
Whoa.
So,
okay.
$6,000 worth of money was found washed up on a riverbank, all shagged and knackered. His parachute's never been found. His body's never been found. A lot of people think that he died in the jump because he had no idea. They don't know where he jumped out the plane.
Right.
He can't have known where he jumped out the plane unless he had an accomplice on the ground.
Just jumped and went, yeah.
So he just fucking yeeted out the plane with $200,000, never to be seen again.
Fuck.
Now, the documentary that's on, personally, I think that's absolutely fucking fascinating.
Oh, mate.
So good.
Don't you just wish there was... Like, there's not enough of that anymore.
I know.
People can't do it. It's annoying.
The thing is, no one was hurt either. He let everyone go. Yeah. The people who were being heisted didn't know.
No.
Until they were off.
Good old-fashioned
crime
heist. Yeah. Heists don't happen anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
People are either too dumb or security's too good.
Exactly.
Because you hear people who get close, but then it's like someone takes like a hammer to try and get through like a bank teller window and they just can't get through it.
Yeah, and then it bounces off the window and claws their eye out.
Yeah.
So there's a documentary at the minute, and the documentary's all right. The first episode is about the crime. The rest of it's basically just about conspiracy nuts.
Speculating,
yeah basically. But they don't need to, because like I said, I've got a suspect.
So you, Marcus Borlus,
correct,
have figured it out.
I have.
Go on then.
I believe D.B.Cooper is none other than my wife.
Mr. D.B.Cooper is Mrs. Marcus Borlus.
That is correct, yes.
But born when? What? How old was?
1990.
But D.B.Cooper was born in 1990.
Oh no, sorry, Sophie was born in 1990. I don't know what. Well, we don't know who. Apparently, we don't know who D.B.Cooper is. But the crime took place in 1971. But we don't know where she was on November 24th, 1971.
Right.
The money's never been found.
Yeah.
And sometimes she comes home with shopping and I don't know where she's got the money for it.
You know, mate, the evidence is stacking up at this point.
Yep, exactly. She's never... I've never known her to not, she's never died from jumping out of an airplane. Which leads me to believe she's very good at it.
Has she ever been on a plane?
Yes, she's been on planes, yeah.
Has she been prone to making demands on such planes?
I don't know about the planes, but she does demand stuff sometimes. Now, so, I'm not content with just spouting my theories.
Yeah, I'm going to need some evidence here, Mark.
You need a bit of proof. Luckily, at the Dark Broadcast, we have our own reporter, don't we?
Oh yes, we do.
And who is that reporter?
Jeshwari.
It is Jeshwari, yes.
I haven't seen him in a while.
No. Well, he's been gathering evidence.
He's going to say gathering dust.
And he's
he's been lying in wait, gathering dust.
And he has, I don't want to say ambushed, but he has made some impromptu interviews with our suspect. And I'm going to play them for you now. I've got 3 clips.
Okay.
Mrs. Sophie Ball was not made aware that these interviews would be taking place. She was, like I said, they're just sort of off the cuff. So
they're very.
You have to forgive the audio quality.
Candid. Okay.
But this is the evidence so far.
Good evening, this is Joshwari for the Dark Ballcast. About to start my impromptu interview of the mastermind behind the D.B.Cooper aeroplane heist. Excuse me, can you tell me where you were on November 24th, 1957?
I wasn't even born yet. Matt, we're the same age. Why are you even talking like that?
My name's Joshwari. I was just wondering, could you tell me where you learnt the skills necessary to jump out of a plane at night in the middle of a storm?
I really don't have time for this, Mark. Stop talking like that as well. What is going on?
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of your infamous heist in 1957 where you managed to hijack a plane and abscond that plane with $200,000.
Is this D.B.Cooper shit again, Mark?
Aye, that's the one. That's you, isn't it?
No, it's not. Piss off and leave me alone.
Immediately defensive. You also noticed that I gave the correct date of the crime there of 1957 because I forgot, and I've been saying been in the 70s, but it's not. It's actually in the 50s. But still, the date in that interview is, but like you say, suspicious.
It sounded very suspicious.
Refused to answer questions.
Yeah. What's
she got to hide?
Yeah.
So,
and she refused to recognise Joshwari, quite a famously known person.
Yeah, exactly. He's you know what I mean. So we didn't give up. So
okay.
we went back to interview number 2.
What have you done with the $200,000?
Mark, not this again. Can you not see I'm trying to change either?
I'm sorry, but we do need to get to the bottom of this. How do you feel about your legacy and how you're depicted in the media today? Do you think the movies have got it right, the way it's depicted, the crime?
Mark, I swear to God, if you do not leave me alone while I'm struggling with this child, I'm going to divorce you.
I'm just giving you a chance to tell your side of the story, Mr. Cooper.
My side of the story is leave me alone.
Okay, I'm sorry to have bothered you.
Again,
were you there as well?
I was not there at the time of the interview. I'm unclear of why she keeps referring to Joshwari as Mark.
Yeah, maybe we can reach out for a comment from Joshwari.
Maybe. Well, there is a third interview actually. So let's listen to this last one.
He's persistent, isn't he?
He is. He won't let it lie. So let's listen to this last one, and then you can make your own mind up.
Mr. Cooper, why did you do it?
Will you leave me alone? This is getting ridiculous now, Mark. I'm sick of you always asking me questions for your stupid fucking podcast that no one even listens to anyway. What do you want now?
I want to know why you did it.
I haven't done anything. Will you leave me the fuck alone, Mark? Jesus Christ. This is getting beyond a joke.
Did you have any accomplices?
I'm going to have an accomplice in killing you if you carry on. Leave me alone.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Mr. Cooper sounds quite threatening.
Exactly. There's a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
Refusing to answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, I've seen the footage of that interview. He does actually strike Joshwari.
Yeah.
Which is what causes his slight change of accent there at the end. So I don't know. What's your thoughts, Dan? Have you solved it?
That's it. Send in the SWAT teams before it gets out of hand.
I know. When will he strike again?
Let's find out.
It's only a matter
after the break.
You right there?
No. My mic stand's collapsing.
you have your problems.
Okay, I'm comfy now.
Comfy, right. Well,
I'm ready.
Luckily for you, if that went any worse for you,
yeah,
this WikiHow is for you.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
It's not by any chance how to help.
No.
how to help a neighbour put badges on a jacket, is it?
It's not.
Because I could have done with that.
No, but you don't need it now because you've
Okay.
got the life experience now. So,
Is it how to decide what to pay your neighbour when you approach them to ask for help on how to put badges on a jacket?
No, but you know the answer to that now anyway. A jar of barley sweets is completely acceptable.
Okay, is it how
It's going to be a long segment.
is it how to know how many badges are too many badges to ask a neighbour to help you put on a jacket?
Right, before you continue with this guessing, can I just say that this article has 13 steps to it?
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's how to hold back tears.
Oh, Mark, I could have done with this the other day. All right. Have you seen, there's a film on Netflix called The Father. Have you ever watched it?
Father. Is that the guy who just gets loads of people pregnant and he's the doctor?
No, Mark. It's a film about a man with dementia, and it's shot. Sorry. Do you mind, mate? Honestly, saddest film I've ever watched.
Really?
Incredible film,
I didn't know you got sad.
mate. I didn't either, but I tell you, I have never ever cried like that. at a film.
Really?
I was bawling my eyes out, man.
Yeah, comedy podcast, this, mate.
Yeah, but carry on. Good
Right,
film though. Good
So,
film.
how to hold back tears.
I'm only human, Mark, but I could have done with it.
No, you're not. Even though crying is completely normal and natural, there may be times where you don't want to have tears in your eyes. Luckily, there are lots of tricks you can try to control your emotions and stop yourself from crying. This article will cover several quick and subtle ways you can prevent tears before moving on to some other strategies to help you calm down. Here are 13 effective ways to hold back tears when you don't want to cry.
There's 13 different ways. Surely one's just... Surely, like...
Surely it's easier to cry.
Yeah. Come on, then.
Right, so some of these...
Do you cry often?
No, barely
No?
ever. And when I do, I take myself off to the bathroom so no one knows.
When you do, you
Can't be asked.
you look up how to stop.
Yeah, it's straight on WikiHow.
Yeah.
So some of these make sense. Some of these are a bit far-fetched. So
I'm just going to say, I'm going to cut that bit out. That was remarkably dark.
which bit? Do I cry
take
often?
myself off to the bathroom so no one can hear my sadness.
I do. That's the truth.
I feel upset now, Mark.
Okay, well,
I can be your shoulder to cry on.
I'm all right. So, number one, breathe deeply. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay.
So, take a few big, long breaths to regain your composure when you get overwhelmed with emotion. When you feel like you're about to cry, pay attention to your breathing rather than your emotions. Breathe through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Take 3 to 10 breaths until you feel like you're less stressed out. You can also try something called 4-7-8 breathing. So breathe through your nose for 4 counts. Hold your breath for 7 counts and slowly exhale for 8 counts. It's getting quite proggy, isn't it?
I ain't got 8 breath. Mark, I think I know why this works. Because you're there thinking, you're about to cry and you go, oh, fuck, what was it? 4, 7...
And you forget.
8. Was there a 5 in there?
Yeah.
Wait, but once a 4 and a 7 and a 5 and an 8. Wait, what's the 4th step?
In there. And then all of a sudden you've forgotten that your entire family's died in a car crash.
Yeah, and you've passed out because you forgot to breathe.
Number 2, the first kind of one that I'm thinking is a little bit fucking stupid. Pinch the webbing between your fingers.
I'm going to try that now.
But you're not crying.
No, but just in case.
Mate,
I feel less like crying than I did before.
you're pinching the webbing and you're not crying. It must work.
webbing.
So distract yourself from your other emotions with this quick trick. Grab the webbing between your thumb and index finger with 2 fingers.
With 2
Pinch
fingers.
hard enough where you can feel the tension, but not so much that it causes you pain. Since you're distracted by and more focused on the new sensation, your tears are more likely to stop on their own. So, essentially self-harm.
But when I do this, I feel like maybe the tears won't fall, but they might crash around May.
Dickhead. Alternatively, you could try pinching the bridge of your nose, but this is less discreet.
Yeah, and I feel like people know you're about to cry.
No, I feel like when I pinch the bridge of my nose, it's because whoever's talking to me is a fuck.
Oh, that's why you never really let go of your nose in this
it's
podcast.
basically super.
I'm going to have to cut out the word.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll beep him.
Drink cold water. Water cools you down when your emotions take over. If you're putting yourself in an emotional situation, keep a glass of ice water nearby. just keep it around.
Imagine you're with someone and they've read this article as well, and you walk into the room holding a glass of iced water.
What's wrong?
And yeah, they just immediately know.
As an added benefit, water also clears the lump in the back of your throat you may feel when stressed out or crying.
I don't think it clears anything, though, because it's not an actual lump in the back of your throat.
It's not, no.
No. It's acting like, what? With crying, you've got some weird mucus build-up. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm no scientist.
Really? So, 4, squeeze a stress ball.
Okay.
So, fiddle with something in your hands to release physical tension.
Oh.
Hey, wank.
Oh.
Hey. Keep a squishy stress ball, medallion, or worry stone in your pocket.
Those 3 things are different. They're nothing near the same. Hold on. Can we go back a step?
Have you not got a worry stone?
And the medallion, though.
Pork
Why
medallion.
am I imagining, like, okay, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's like, okay, you've got a stress ball, or you're wearing like a wife beater, you've got a hairy chest, and you're wearing a medallion.
St. Christopher.
Or you're just one of those idiots who believes in stones.
I've seen loads of stones.
Magic stones. Shut up. I knew that was coming.
Imagine going into the butcher's and he's just fondling the pork medallions and you think he's depressed.
And he's just stood there in the other hand. He's got a glass of iced water.
And you think that man's about to kill himself.
Yeah. Somebody keep this man away keep him away from the knives.
So, when you start feeling frustrated or sad, don't hold the tension in your body. Instead, squeeze the object tightly in your hand or rub it between your fingers to stay calm. Since you're refocusing your stress, you're less likely to start crying.
And if you've got none of those items around, just use the webbing on your hands, apparently.
Yeah, just use the webbing.
That'll work too.
It's a fun article, isn't it? Tense up your muscles. Clench your fist to regain a feeling of self-control. When you start feeling sad or full of emotion, it can be hard to control what you're doing.
Scare the shit out of your ex.
While you can't always control when you cry, refocus your attention on parts of your body you can control. Squeeze your hands into tight fists. Tense up your legs and activate your core to stay discreet. Avoid tensing up the muscles in your face since it might make you cry more easily.
Nice little footnote there.
Imagine your happy place. Think of something positive to redirect your focus. Avoid getting self-conscious about the thing making you cry. Take a second to visualize your eyes. What? No, sorry, close your eyes and visualize the things that make you happy. Try reflecting back on the happiest moment of your life. Picturing yourself on a dream vacation or imagining the person you love most wearing something silly.
That's it gives you a real insight into the person that made this article. How naive and unbroken their life is.
I often, to stop crying, picture my kids in KKK hats.
Oh, how silly of them.
Number 7, try a 5-4-3-2-1 technique.
Oh, okay.
Mentally list the objects in your surroundings to ground yourself. As soon as you feel your emotions coming on, stop and look around the room. Doesn't work if you're outside. In your head, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
I'd have named this the Thunderbird technique. Yeah, because afterwards you're like...
The fab technique.
Thunderbirds. Oh, God. Do you remember Thunderbirds?
Yeah, of course I do.
What a load of shit that was. I was more of a Captain Scarlet and the Mister.
Captain Scarlet, yes.
But looking back, wasn't it all a bit creepy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's awful.
I'm almost 100% sure that them dolls were fucked.
Yeah, night terrors.
Yep.
And you couldn't gauge how tall they were in real life. That
No,
bothered me.
I loved how when they're doing close-ups on hands, it just became a human hand. Right, number 8.
The magic of cinema, eh?
Number 8. Tilt your head back.
No.
Works with nosebleeds.
Yeah.
So keep tears from rolling down your cheeks with this simple
One
fix.
sec. No, it don't work with nosebleeds. Do you know that that's
that not what
really
you're
bad
supposed to do?
advice? No. It turns out all that does is it redirects the blood down your throat. You're not doing it other than swallowing blood.
Yeah, back to the heart.
That will join my lunch.
No, I just whenever I feel a nosebleed coming on, I just hold it in.
You go
It's
to
not
the
hard,
bathroom
is
so
it?
no one can hear your sadness.
Yeah. Get a couple of tampons up your nose.
Also, getting a nosebleed is a very good way to distract yourself from crying. Step 14. Mark.
If you already feel tears welling in your eyes, lean back and look straight up. While you're tilted back, try taking a few deep breaths or visualizing something positive to help calm you down. When you feel like you have better control of your emotions, tilt your head back. You may notice a few tears if you don't lean your head back far enough.
So are you using gravity to basically put the tears back into the tear duct? I'm worried, though, that you'll lean too far back and instead your tears will still come out, but they'll go up your forehead.
Down your forehead, yeah.
So then you look back up and it looks like your tears are just anti-gravity.
Yeah, I often see people walking bent over backwards, and I think, what's going on with them? Turns out they're just fucking depressed.
Very sad.
Relax your face, Dan. Relax
Okay.
your face. That's all you got to do. Rest your muscles to prevent tears from falling. When you cry, you usually tense up your face and make tears roll down your cheeks. Instead, relax your eyebrows and forehead so they're not scrunched up. Take a few deep breaths as you loosen your muscles. As you do, you'll lock your tears up so they're less likely to cry. You ever seen anyone having a stroke crying? There you go. Watch or listen to something funny. See, like a cat getting run over or something.
Like your favourite episode of Captain Scarlet.
Step away from the situation.
Right?
Just leave.
Just walk away. Do all of it at once. I mean, like, head back, run.
There's
like
the opposite of Naruto running.
Yeah, lean back.
So put some distance between you and the thing making you cry. If you could step away from your desk or out of the room for a couple of minutes, find a change of scenery, get some water. But you should really have water.
Iced water.
You should have it with you. Or go outside so you don't feel as stressed about the situation. Doesn't work in Ukraine. When you feel like the tears have paused, take a couple of deep breaths and come back to handle the situation. If you're at work, politely ask if you can step out before leaving so you stay professional.
You know, it's like in that classic song. You know how it goes? When times get tough, run away. Do you remember that one?
I do, yeah.
Classic.
I do.
Peter Andre, I think.
Number 12. Hold something cold under your eyes.
Like the iced water.
Like the ice water.
Fuck me. So iced water has many uses. It's also a great deterrent for Bin Laden. Because if we remember from episode 3, he only likes room temperature water. You learn something new almost every day.
So, alleviate puffy eyes with some cold water.
Okay.
If you have access to a sink, splash some. If you have access to a sink in the fucking
You've got something to cry about
first
if you
world
don't.
problems.
Yeah.
if you have access to a sink, splash some cold water under your eyes to hide what you're about to cry. That you're about to cry. If you want to be a little more discreet, just wet your fingers and gently pat underneath your eyes. The cold water helps restrict blood flow so you don't have puffy eyes or tears. You could instead use an eye mask or a bag of frozen vegetables if you're at home. 13's boring. It's practice self-care for long-term relief. So that's boring end note.
Yep.
Well, just looking at some of the questions.
Come on, give me some Q&A here, Mark.
Why do I feel bad when crying? As if I have done something wrong, but I didn't. I mean, surely you always feel bad when you cry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be crying.
Yeah, I mean, you were feeling bad to start with. Maybe they're forgetting what they were actually sad about.
Just concentrate on crying. Answer: crying is a form of releasing emotions and is also draining. You probably feel bad because it tires you and releases a lot of emotional gunk. You may also have a hang-up about thinking that crying isn't right, in which case you will feel that having cried is wrong. The thing is, it isn't wrong to cry, so don't feel as if you did anything wrong. Sort of goes against the article, doesn't it?
Yeah, why are you
The
stopping?
article's about stopping crying.
Yeah.
What if I've already started crying and want to stop? Too late, mate.
I don't know, mate.
Most people find this difficult. Some people succeed by drinking a glass of water or pinching themselves.
Do you know what I think's funny, though? They've probably written that through tears because they've started crying and now they can't figure out how to get out of it. Do you think anyone ever started crying once and just couldn't stop?
Just cried themselves to death. Yeah.
Just cried.
That's the reason the Titanic sank. It's nothing to do with an iceberg. Someone crying on boards filled it with water. Well, there's another question. Quite probably the one of the saddest questions I've ever seen.
Oh no, Mark!
So wrong.
Is
to
this
laugh.
right? Can I just ask?
Yeah.
This is likely to be the last thing that happens in this episode.
I know.
Go on.
How can I make people stop hurting me?
Oh. That's it. Another episode. Thank you for listening, and especially thank you to the new listener in Greece.
I'm going to have to hurry up because it's starting to hurt pinching the web in between my fingers to stop from crying. So no one asked for it.
No one needed it.
This was it.
It was the Dark Ballcast.